Last week, my friend Lisa was in town from London, and we got to talking about extending your friendship to new people and showing up. And Lisa recently started a new job in a new industry, and she was saying how it was kind of surprising how little effort people made to welcome her or to get to know her. And that was more of a workplace discussion and how remote work and COVID affected work relationships. But then we went on to talk about friendship. We both agreed that we're not like starved for friends, but it's more about being curious and open to making new friends. And Lisa was saying how she absolutely still has an appetite for that. And I shared with her that I made a new friend, Emily, recently. Emily and I are doing a course together, and we were on Zoom, and I DM'd her and offered to have a side conversation with her. And we soon discovered that she actually lives in New York City, and we decided to meet the very next day in Central Park. We literally knew nothing about each other. I didn't even know how I would recognize her. And we ended up spending over 2 hours, and we became fast friends. It's only been like 6 weeks, and Emily and I have already seen each other 4 times. We're collaborating on a new project different than the one that we met for. And we have this whole system of leaving each other WhatsApp voice clips where we can share our progress and each of us knows we don't need to respond. It's more about having a sense of accountability with someone and to inspire each other. So it's so cool that I found this new friend, Emily, in New York City. Now, it's not like I don't have friends, but I've been feeling a little sorry for myself. At least four of my really good pals left during COVID. And I kind of got into a slump. A little bit was because I was coming off of a very long term relationship and I spent a lot of time out of the city with that person. And then COVID happened. So I've been renegotiating my relationship with New York. Part of that is being open to making new friends. I've spoken before about the fact that I don't think intimacy is a function of proximity. And I would say the same for friendship. Just because someone lives near you doesn't mean that your friendship is satisfying. It can become sort of a duty and obligation to see people, and it's hard to weed back or to scale back on the frequency of contact with people. But I digress. I guess what I want to say is that I find my new relationships very satisfying and interesting and intellectually stimulating and reaffirming. I was reminded of how important it is to say yes and to show up. I thought it would be interesting to ask Emily her experience of making a new friend in me. I didn't know what to expect, and I think you'll enjoy our quick chat about making new friends in New York City. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Constance.
I'm happy to see you.
I'm so happy to see you.
I called because I was recording an episode for my show about meeting new people and making new friends. I don't want to tell you what I said because maybe you meet new people all the time. I have no idea. So I basically just framed it that you and I met maybe 6 weeks ago, literally the day after we realized that we were in the same city, and spent
Yeah.
a couple of hours together and have since started collaborating on a project and whatnot and seen each other like 4 times. I know we're different. We're from different age groups and different backgrounds. And I was curious to hear what your experience was of meeting a stranger and finding a new friend.
Yeah, it's been such a treat, like one of the highlights of my year, honestly. And
Wow.
I'm not a person who meets a lot of new people and forms friendships out in the world. There was something about the synchronicity of the way we met through taking a course that, we had a shared passion there and shared goal and shared interests. And then it turned out a shared city. And I think we were both sort of, I don't know, seeking support in different things and didn't have a complementary friend in our existing friend groups. But I don't know, there was something about the energy and the way you reached out initially that I was like, huh, this person's really interesting. And yeah, I think maybe you left me a voice memo early on, is my memory.
Oh,
And that's such a connecting thing, like to get to know somebody through their voice as opposed to a text or an email or being on a Zoom call and just seeing disembodied heads.
that's interesting because some people could find that intrusive or overly intimate. So it's interesting that you happen to mention the voice because now that you know me better, you know that I'm a passionate WhatsApp voice clip leaver.
It was so cool. Yeah. I mean, there are some other friends in my life who like to communicate that way. It's actually like people who are a lot younger than me tend to leave me voice memos in text form, not just in WhatsApp, but in text as well. And like, you know, I'm of the age where like leaving a voicemail is a little more common. So I don't know. To me, it was like Constance is basically a millennial or a zennial or whatever, leaving a voice memo. And it was
Oh,
such a great way to get to know
that's so interesting.
you.
Let me just ask you something else. Did COVID or the way you behaved or conducted your life during COVID affect your curiosity or openness to new people in your life or making an effort? I'm just curious about that.
I'll bet it probably did. I mean, I keep saying that I was such an indoor cat during COVID. And I mean, we all were. We all had to be unless we were frontline workers, right? And had to show up. And it suits me. It suits my temperament, you know,
Mhm,
like I'm
mhm.
I'm not a person who's desperate for I'm a little bit introverted, but I do thrive on connection, especially one-on-one connections. And I have missed sort of networking opportunities, like being at film festivals with my movie last year and the year before was like so great to be back in person at festivals, even though I would get some kind of a cold after every single event. It was just great to reconnect with people. Um, but yeah, I don't think I've made a lot of new friends since, outside of like the film world.
Yeah, that's interesting. One of my theories, or not theories, but one of the things I talk about is intimacy not being a function of proximity. And I think that kind of goes for friendship. I think that sometimes we assume people are close because they see each other frequently, but that doesn't necessarily imply that there is a pleasure or a depth, or sometimes it can be a duty and obligation, because
Yeah.
just because it's always been that way. So that was
Yeah,
what was exciting for me, to meet someone new and really be motivated to get together, to make an
totally.
effort, to show up.
And just also the serendipity of like, we both happen to be free on those dates. Like, I know you well enough now to know that that's not the case always. Like, you're a
Yeah.
busy person, I'm a busy person. It just was like, yeah, it's beautiful weather in New York. And why not? You seem really
Yeah.
interesting. And yeah,
Now, what about
let's,
our age difference? Does that come, did that come into your mind at any point?
well, I don't think our age difference is that great.
I think I'm asking you that because I've noticed that I don't even know exactly how old you are. We don't have to say that
And I
here,
don't know
but I
you.
know that you're at least 20 years younger than me. So
Mm,
I found that curious and also exciting and interesting, because I'm thinking, okay, you bring a different lens on the world. And I don't have children, not that you're young enough to be my child, but I don't have children. And I have this goal to meet younger people and to be engaged with younger people. So it was like, oh, look what happened. I just sort of put that out in the universe that I wanted to engage more with younger people. And Emily came popping into my life. That wasn't a consideration for you, huh?
No, I don't think necessarily. It was really just an energy and a serendipity and a good feeling, like I'm a person who's always trusted whispers when they come my way. And um, yeah, it was a good whisper, like, huh,
Well,
this is a person that seems really interesting.
well, cool. Well, I'm really glad
But
we met.
also
And
to jump in, as a person who doesn't intend to have children myself, I love having people in my life who are at all ages as well and have made different choices. And yeah, it's inspiring to me to meet
yeah,
people who, I don't know.
well, I don't
I
know.
like being your friend.
Yeah, I like being your friend too. And I really appreciated your Thanksgiving message. I was like, oh, we have this little love fest and we've only just met. And I think the reason also I wanted to ask you is because I see on chats and I hear conversations about people feeling like, obviously there is a certain amount of comfort and just beauty in a lifelong friend who you've known for so many years and who's seen your
Mm.
ups and downs. But at least in my experience, those friends are wonderful and I'm blessed to have many of them. But I have found very profound and deep relationships with people that are newer friends.
Yeah, for definitely. And it's sort of like people who meet you when you're in a new stage of your life and accept you off the bat for where you are. There's something really comforting in that. Like there are people in my life who I haven't told that I'm launching a podcast yet because maybe I'm afraid of their reaction. Maybe I'm afraid might change our relationship or they might have judgment about it. But to meet you exactly where I am and know that like we both understand that about each other and are cheering each other on is really valuable.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I was talking about also renegotiating my relationship with New York, having lost some friends who have moved away. And it's like, a few left, and there are a couple of new ones that have appeared in my life, and you're at the top of the list.
Yay.
Yay. Anyway, I'm thrilled we found each other.
The
Too soon.
constant is change, right, Constance?
Yeah, exactly. The only constant is change. All right, I'll talk to you soon.